Hey, what's going on, guys? Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. Here in today's video, I just want to address something that I see come up a lot in guitar discussion groups, Facebook groups, guitar forums. I constantly see people saying that they are intimidated by music theory. Now, I'm hanging out in these guitar groups, and I know that the goal for many people is essentially the same. Many guitar players, they want to have the ability to play up and down the entire fretboard. They want to have the ability to jam with other musicians. They want to have the ability for a group of people to be like, okay, we're playing in the key of B or something. Take a solo. Basically, every guitar player, they want to eventually be able to play up and down the entire neck of the guitar. But a lot of people are intimidated by music theory. Fortunately, if you're a guitar player, you don't even need to know music theory. It's not required. So in order to do this stuff, the minimum requirement is to just know your notes on the low E string and on the A string. Those are the two thickest strings on the guitar. If you know just that information, you can do so much stuff. You can play up and down the entire neck of the guitar. You can play scales anywhere. You can play in any major key, any minor key. You can incorporate modes into your playing. You can do so much stuff just by knowing the notes on the low E string and on the A string. That's what this video is about. So when it comes to connecting with the key of the music that you're jamming along with, whether it's a backing track or a live band or something like that, you need to know two bits of information. Number one, you need to know if it's A or B or C or C sharp or D or E flat or whatever. So you need to know that. And then you need to know if it's major or if it's minor. So if it's minor, index finger, major, pinky finger, minor, major. So let's say you're jamming with a band and they say, we're playing in the key of A minor. So you know the A part of it, and then minor. Index finger is minor. So what you're going to do with that information is you're going to locate the note A on the low E string, right there. That's the 5th fret of the low E string, and then you're going to put your first finger on there because it's minor. So from there, you're going to have what is known as pentatonic position number 1. I refer to this as the home box, but you can call this whatever you want. All right, most people refer to this as pentatonic position number 1. Now keep in mind what you have here is just 5 notes. It's the notes A, C, D, E, and G. A, C, D, E, G. A, C, D, E, G. A. Here's a C up here. So it's only 5 notes. It's just spanning across 6 strings. So if you want to have the ability to play those 5 notes across the entire neck of the guitar, which essentially is allowing you to play in the key of A minor across the entire neck of the guitar, then you just have to know the shapes relative to this reference position, this position number 1, this home box position. All right, so if you know this shape right here, the shape in this direction towards the bridge is always going to look like this. All right, then you have another shape in this direction towards the headstock of the guitar, and that looks like this. Now you can find your position number 1 up here again because this is also the note A up on the 17th fret, so that's the same box pattern as we initially started out with. All right, and then your other box pattern in this direction is going to be the same as this box pattern. Then your other box pattern in this direction is going to be the same as this box pattern. All right, so far we've got pretty much the whole fretboard covered. and we've only had to learn these 3 box patterns. So then to fill in the remainder of the fretboard, we just have to add in 1 additional box pattern. So this box pattern is what I refer to as the A string home box. It's often referred to as pentatonic position number 4. You can call it whatever you want, but it looks like this, and it is located again because it's minor with your index finger. So you take your index finger and you place it on the note A, because we're in A minor right now, but you find the A on the A string. So here's an A right here on the 12th fret of the A string. All right, so that's how you locate this final position that completes the fretboard. And then you have that same box pattern right there. You have that down here too. Alright, so before we jump into this, I just want to point out something about the Zombie Guitar website. I know a lot of people watching this video are members of the website. So there's 10 courses that are specifically about this shape stuff. Guitar-specific music theory. We can just call it guitar theory. So there's general music theory that applies to everything. It applies to the piano, it applies to the guitar, it applies to vocals, saxophone, every single instrument. That's general music theory. Then there's guitar-specific shape theory that doesn't focus on the general stuff. It only applies to the guitar. So 10 courses on the Zombie Guitar website, the 5 fundamental soloing courses, and then the 5 advanced courses, which is about playing in other modes, aside from basic major keys and basic minor keys, like playing in Mixolydian mode, playing in Lydian mode, stuff like that. Those 10 courses are all about the shape theory stuff. If you really want to dive in and learn about the general music theory component, then that's what the in-depth lesson portal is for. But if you're just worried about the shapes and stuff like that, and having the ability to play in any key and navigate your way up and down the entire neck of the guitar utilizing just shapes, which is something that is only available to us as guitar players, that's what those 5 fundamental soloing courses and the 5 advanced courses are about. All right, so if you memorize those box patterns, and notice that we only did 4 box patterns. There's typically, the 5 pentatonic positions is the system that's taught when teaching guitar players the pentatonic scale, and that's cool. It's cool to know the 5 pentatonic positions, but you can cover the entire fretboard in just 4 if you want to, as I just showed you. So learn those shapes, and then you can play in any minor key that you want. So if the band says, hey, we're playing in the key of B minor, or if we're playing in the key of D minor, or if we're playing in the key of F minor, whatever, all you have to know is the note, the B, the D, the F, whatever it is, and then major or minor. So let's say the band says, okay, we're going to jam in the key of C minor now. All right, so you know the C, and then minor. Index finger is minor, pinky is major. C minor. So you find the note C on the low E string. You have a C right here on the 8th fret. You also have a C up here on the 20th fret. We'll start down here on the 8th fret. And then the shape is the same. Your first shape, your pentatonic position number 1, your reference position, it's the exact same thing. Now these are different notes. When we were in the key of A minor, our 5 pentatonic notes were A, C, D, E, and G. Now we're in the key of C minor. We have a new reference position, a new position number 1. These are 5 different notes because we're in a different key, but that doesn't really matter when it comes to this whole shape theory stuff, this whole guitar theory stuff. All you need to know is, okay, C is right there. It's minor, so I'm going to put my index finger on there, and then I'm going to apply that same exact shape that I already learned. All right, so you have your position 1, you have your neighboring box pattern in this direction, you have your neighboring box pattern in this direction, then you want to fill in the remainder of the fretboard with that 4th position, which I refer to as the A string home box. Again, we know that it's C minor, index finger for minor, so you have one right here, so there's the note C. So here's that 4th box pattern. You have one up here because here's the note C, 15th fret of the A string. So this works for all 12 keys. You just need to know the letter of the key, and then you need to know whether it's major or minor. All right, so now the band says we're in the key of B major. Take a solo. B major. You know the B part, major. Minor, major. So you find your note B on the low E string. Right there on the 7th fret is a B, and then up here on the 19th fret is also a B. So we'll start down here. So this time you put your pinky on it. So you put your pinky on the note B, and then there's your first position again. So again, I refer to this as the home box. I also call this pentatonic position number 1 even when we're playing in a major key, just because to me it makes sense to keep the numbering consistent for both major and minor keys. Some people will teach that this is called pentatonic position number 5, and then the neighboring position in this direction is called pentatonic position number 1 when in a major key context. To me, that is adding unnecessary confusion, but that's just a matter of opinion. At the end of the day, it's just 5 notes. It's entirely arbitrary how you label these positions. That's why I just call this the home box, because everyone knows and loves this shape right here. So this is your B major pentatonic scale. You start on your first note, which is B. And this note is also part of the B major pentatonic scale as well. So that's your reference position, your position number 1, your home box, whatever you want to call it. You then have your neighboring box pattern in this direction. You have your neighboring box pattern in this direction. You have your position number 1 up here again, your neighboring box pattern, your neighboring box pattern. We then need to fill in the remainder of the fretboard with that 4th box pattern. So we're in B major, pinky for major. So here's a B right here on the 14th fret of the A string. So put your pinky there, and then there's that 4th box pattern. It's exactly the same shape as what we've been doing for minor. It's just that we located it with the pinky now. Alright, so it's great to know these box patterns, and it's great to, memorize all the box patterns and stuff like that, but a lot of times you're going to find that you're not really using all of the box patterns in their full 6-string form. A lot of times, many guitar players, we kind of just stick to the first position, that home box position, and then we just add little pieces of the neighboring positions. So I refer to this as the lower extension and the upper extension. All right, so let's say that we want to play in the key of D minor. All right, so we have the D part, and then we know it's minor. So minor, major, minor, major. So index fingers for minor. So D minor. So I'm going to take my index finger, I'm going to put it on the note D right there, which is on the 10th fret of the low E string. And this is our reference position, position number 1, the home box. And then you have your neighboring box pattern right there, and then your neighboring box pattern right there. So instead of using those full neighboring box patterns, we're just going to focus on just this little bit down here. So I call this the lower extension. And then this neighboring position, we're just going to focus on the high 3 strings. So just this stuff right here. Now, of course, that simplification works for all of the keys because every single key on the guitar has the exact same shape, the exact same patterns. That's the whole beauty of this guitar theory thing. So again, let's try to add those upper and lower extensions for the key of, I don't know, E major. So E, we have our letter, major, pinky. So find the E on the low E string. So there's an E right there on the 12th fret of the low E string. So the next thing to understand is that the pentatonic scale, which is just 5 notes, acts as the shell for many other common scales. So we're going to look at 6 scales in particular that the pentatonic scale acts as the shell for. We're going to look at the Ionian scale, otherwise known as just the major scale. We're going to look at the Aeolian scale, otherwise known as just the natural minor scale. We're going to look at the Mixolydian scale, the Phrygian scale, the Dorian scale, and the Lydian scale. Now, when it comes to these other scales, which are 7-note scales, the pentatonic scale is 5 notes. These other scales are a total of 7 notes. So in order to turn the pentatonic scale into any of these other scales, you just have to add in 2 notes. Of course, you can do that in every single box pattern. Like you have your pentatonic position number 1, you figure out where those 2 notes fit in across all 6 strings. You have your neighboring box pattern, figure out where those 2 notes fit in across the entire 6 strings. You can definitely do that, and I do recommend eventually doing that, but you can really take a major shortcut here, and you can just use this pentatonic shell stuff along with the lower and upper extensions, and if you want to turn it into the full 7-note scale and get the sound, the melodic possibilities of that full 7-note scale, you just have to figure out where the 2 additional notes fall in on the high 2 strings, on the high E string and on the B string. All right, let me show you. So let's say that our key is the key of A minor. All right, so the band says, hey, we're in the key of A minor, take a solo. Okay, A minor, index finger for minor. So we're going to look at this. This is our pentatonic position number 1. You take your index finger, you put it on the 5th fret right there, which is the note A. That's our reference position. We have our lower extension, and then we have our upper extension. So let's say that we want to get the sound of the Aeolian scale, or otherwise known as the natural minor scale. All you need to know is that the 2 extra notes fall in here and here. Another minor type of scale is the Dorian scale. So for the Dorian scale, your 2 additional notes are right here and right here. So now if you want to get a Phrygian, which is another minor type of scale, again, the A minor pentatonic shell still applies, but you add in your additional 2 notes here and here. Alright, so right there you have 3 additional scales. You have your minor pentatonic shell, which applies to all of the 3 minor types of scales that we just looked at. The natural minor scale, the Dorian scale, and the Phrygian scale. It's just a matter of where those 2 additional notes fit in. So let's look at the major types of scales now. So your pentatonic shell is still going to be the exact same thing. You're still going to have your same reference position for your position number 1, your lower extension, your upper extension. Let's say that we want to play in the key of, I don't know, D flat major. So find the note D flat. So here's the note D on the 10th fret of the low E string. So D flat would be 1 less than the note D. So this is major this time, so pinky is for major. So put your pinky right there. So here's your pentatonic position number 1, your reference position for the key of D flat major. Add in your lower and upper extension. Now we can go ahead and add in 2 additional notes to get the Ionian scale, otherwise known as just the major scale, the Lydian scale, or the Mixolydian scale. So for the Ionian scale, your 2 additional notes are going to go here and here. If you want to get the Lydian sound, your 2 additional notes are going to go right there and there. If you want the Mixolydian sound, you add in your 2 additional notes right there and right there. Alright, so as you can see, you can really get a lot accomplished just by knowing the notes of your low E string and your A string. You can play all up and down the entire neck of the guitar. You can play in any key, any major key, any minor key. You can get Dorian sounds, you can get Phrygian sounds, Mixolydian sounds. You know, you can mix and match and stuff like that. That's the cool thing about the guitar. You learn a scale pattern on the guitar, you can now play that scale pattern in all of the keys. That's guitar theory in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.